Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, overseeing the Office of the Vice President, Madam Speaker, His Lord the Chief Justice, Honorable Ministers, Secretary General Health and Civil Service, Lord Mayor of Banjul, Honorable Members of the National Assembly, Honorable religious leaders, service chiefs, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the media, fellow Gambians, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you with great humility today at this historic opening of our National Assembly in the era of New Gambia. Together we have ushered the New Gambia into a world of hope, a world we shall jealously guard to preserve the freedom and dignity of our people. Never again shall this nation return to those dark days of impunity, obvious disregard of constitutional order, or be globally isolated. This is an achievement that we should not take lightly. I thank Allah for this blessing and also seek His continued guidance and strength to serve you well in the coming years. The spirit of unity that brought us last December's historic election outcome continues to drive the nation forward, which is evident in the business of our new cabinet. Indeed, we see the spirit of unity every day across the nation as we strive together to build the new Gambia that we want and deserve. The most important achievement so far is the peaceful transition of power to democracy. This period has seen the inauguration of a president, the appointment of a new cabinet, and the election of a new National Assembly. Fellow Gambians, you have elected the government that you want, and we have taken your expression of goodwill and your desire for peace and prosperity seriously. We have just begun the task of steadily reforming the government assembly so it can do the work of nation building and help strengthen our newfound democracy that we wanted for so long. I want to offer my thanks to the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, the African Union, the United Nations, the European Union, the World Bank, and all our international partners for their invaluable support in this historic transition. They too have worked with us in the spirit of unity and cooperation to serve the new Gambia. They have all moved swiftly to stabilize this nation through support with security, human and financial resources. I know we can count on their continued support, particularly to overcome the dire financial situation that we inherited. But ultimately, we Gambians must forge our way along the path of democracy and prosperity. I am proud to say that we are already well on our way in these few months of our administration. We have got a lot to do in 2017 and beyond, and as I have always said, this is going to be a government of action. Our immediate priority is to fix the continuous energy problem as well as the broken economy. Unify the nation, improve health and agriculture subsectors, end the country's isolation, and introduce robust institutional, electoral, constitutional reforms in line with our new democratic principles that will respond to the realities of our time. This has to be done in tandem with reforms in the civil service and security sector, as well as state-owned enterprises. Our most important achievement so far is the peaceful transition of power to this new democracy. As mentioned earlier, we are indebted to ECOWAS, the AU, the UN, the EU, the World Bank, and the IMF, and other international partners for their support. They have all moved quickly to help stabilize our country with the help of security, human and financial resources. As the saying goes, charity begins at home. To decongest the prisons by releasing potential and other deserving reform prisoners. A criminal case and detention review panel has also been established to inquire into all criminal proceedings against current and former public officers, and the panel have uncovered cases linked to political activity and persons remanded and awaiting trial. We have recently and carefully concluded the work on the system of personal inquiry to look into the financial businesses related activities of the former president and his associates. The members of the commission, chaired by Sohara Samia Jane, have been announced, and the commission will start work shortly. Additionally, our judiciary have been Gambianized, with the appointment of a Gambian Chief Justice and 6 Superior Court Justices. We also held a successful National Stakeholders Conference on Justice and Human Rights in May, and the forum provided a unique opportunity for inclusive dialogue and consultation on key justice sector reforms, including plans for setting up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. My government have received and continue to benefit from genuine solid support provided by the UN in the area of transitional justice and setting up of this commission. Security and defense. In the area of security and defense, we are grateful for the support of the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia. The economic forces were especially instrumental in helping to secure our democratic transition. The government is working on reforming the security sector, which is closely linked to the delivery of justice and the restoration of free and fair democracy. Gone are the days of armed security personnel representing the face of government. The Gambia armed forces are now confined to their military barracks. Members of the former State Guard Battalion have been redeployed to other units, and the armed forces are now disengaged from civilian matters. It is also important to know that arms and ammunition have been stored in safe locations. We must, however, applaud our Gambian armed forces, who have been receptive to the normalization of their role in the state and have conducted themselves with maximum professionalism. They continue to play a critical role in keeping our nation safe and secure. of us all. Information and communication. In the area of information and communication, we have taken concrete steps to review oppressive media laws, to ensure freedom of press and freedom of expression. These are found in pillars of any strong democracy, and my government have moved quickly to reinstate 3 private radio shows that were illegally shut down. All these efforts will enhance the quality, the scope, and the openness of information, news, and the media throughout our country. It is reassuring to now hear and see debates on divergent views expressed freely on radio, on television, and in our newspapers. In one of my recent cabinet meetings, we agreed as an immediate priority on the need to put in place a communication strategy that will facilitate regular communications and engagement with the public. New communication measures have been introduced to include regular press briefings by the media team at the Office of the President, by the Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, and by annual news conferences by myself. Energy. Turning to the energy sector, let me start by restating the urgency that I attach to resolving the power supply across the nation. Electricity is power. The power to support education and learning. The power to run life-saving health facilities, and the power for businesses to create jobs and grow the economy. I came into office to find significant challenges in the energy sector, as it is evidenced in the frequent power outages. Electric power is one of the most basic services that people need for a decent quality of life, and the lack of it greatly affects the net national productivity and lives of the people. To meet these challenges and tackle our acute power shortage, my government has made it a priority from day one to work with international partners, investors, and developers to attract investment in the energy sector. Some of the negotiations are at a very advanced stage. We recently signed an agreement for a 60 megawatt power plant, which will more than double the current generation capacity in the country. It will deliver adequate and stable electric power supply in the whole of the Greater Banjul area. I am also happy to report that the proposal to acquire electricity from our sister Republic of Senegal is well advanced. It is worthy to know that this cross-border connection is a short-term measure to boost the energy supply, especially in the rural areas. Madam Speaker, regarding the petroleum subsector, over the past 22 years, Gambians have either been left in the dark or seriously misinformed about petroleum prospects. My government will be transparent and honest about the state of petroleum. And should there be positive results, we are committed that we will benefit from greater openness through international trade and tourism. Since my inauguration, it is clear that the world appreciates the Gambia and wants to engage with us. We have already seen an increase in the volume of cargo at the port of Banjul, as well as rise in vehicular traffic using the ferry services. Furthermore, there has been a clear boost in the flock of new investors exploring opportunities in our country. We have also been honored with many visits by foreign dignitaries from the EU, UN, UK, and from our own ECOWAS neighbors. I have equally been humbled by invitation from fellow world leaders. Gambia has begun the process of rejoining the Commonwealth and reaffirming our membership to the International Criminal Court. We have welcomed the decision by ECOWAS to extend economic tenure, all of which demonstrate our commitment to embrace regional global institutions in the name of open and collaborative international relations. Relations with our neighbor Senegal have been transformed positively. We now meet our strategic partners who recognize the mutual benefit of closer cooperation. In the first 100 days of our period in office, our countries signed key agreements on defense and security, tourism, fisheries, and consular assistance. As a small economy, the Gambia has much to gain from more efficient trade across our borders with Senegal and beyond. Going forward, my cabinet and I will work to make the most of these opportunities to boost our economy and create jobs for Gambians. Already, the National Assembly ratified a crucial World Trade Organization trade facilitation agreement. This is an agreement that will make the Gambia more attractive export destination for our trading partners. I am proud to announce that my Minister of Trade has since signed a letter of agreement with China for the duty-free trade between our two nations. This will remove the need for costly transshipment of Gambian exports to China through a third country. It will also make our goods more competitive and boost our export potential to the world's largest market. A legal methodology bill will soon be brought to the floor of the National Assembly. The bill will, among other things, address consumer protection relevant to legal methodology functions. Fellow Gambians, my government took office to discover that the treasury was virtually empty and domestic and foreign debts at an all-time high. The foreign reserve at the central bank was less than 1 month import cover, and the economic and governance situation had become so bad that our international development partners had decided us. To address this crisis, my government in January 2017 developed the Accelerated National Response Plan, which seeks technical and financial support from our development partners to help mitigate the economic and physical crisis in the short term. We are grateful to our international partners who have responded swiftly and continue to respond to this call for support. The European Union has made a significant financial commitment. It is disbursing frozen funds and committing new funds to support the development agenda of the new Gambia. The World Bank have already provided vital emergency budget support, and we are in the final stages of concluding a rapid credit facility agreement with the IMF, who have agreed to a staff-monitored program to stabilize the economy and public finances. This will include the reform of the public enterprises such as National Water and Electricity Corporation, NAWEC, and telecommunication entities, Gamtel and Gamcel. Youths, in order to take full advantage of the impending financial and economic opportunities, we need to prepare our youth today for a vibrant labor force tomorrow. After all, the bedrock of our country's very existence is our youth. This is why the Ministry of Youth and Sports is tasked to create various capacity and employment initiatives to enable our young people to form the much needed human capital that will drive the country's development agenda. In our first 100 days, a new youth empowerment project initiative supported by the EU was launched at the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. The objective of this project is to improve the skills of potential youth workers and prepare them, especially returning young migrants, for the labor market. Through the President's International Award Scheme, 60 youths were recently enrolled to undergo skills training in a range of technical and vocational areas, like auto mechanics, carpentry, and secretarial work. It is encouraging to know that the National Youth Council coordinates the civic education program. This is aimed at mobilizing our youth to participate in politics and to assume their rightful role in the country's development process. The Council has helped craft a youth agenda for government's consideration and is working closely with the International Organization for Migration to support returnees and potential migrants to acquire livelihood skills in horticulture and poultry. The Council is also helping young people in Busumbala and Badibu Salikene and Kuntawu to acquire skills in poultry farming. Similarly, it is helping young people in Wuli to acquire skills in horticulture. This capacity building initiative also sensitizes young people to the dangers of illegal migration to Europe. Agriculture. In agriculture, we expect to make critical development gains from improving the skills of our youth and encouraging them to participate in agriculture. At the moment, agriculture productivity is low, and this limits the benefit of the nation in terms of jobs, livelihoods, and government revenue. In addition to youth training, the Ministry of Agriculture has begun a program of support to farmers and farming businesses to improve seed input, modernize cropping, plowing techniques, and enhance planning in the face of climate change and other hazards to agriculture. Already vegetable seeds have been distributed to 11,200 farmers, as well as 22,500 kilograms of rice seed to intensify rice production. High-quality fertilizer and groundnut seeds have also been made available to farmers at a subsidized price. At the subsidized prices. Fisheries, as well as maximizing the economic potential of our agriculture subsector. We have begun to develop fisheries as a source of food security, job, and economic growth. During the first 100 days of my presidency, the Ministry of Fisheries and Water Resources and National Assembly Matters and the Ministry of Justice reviewed the country's 2008 fisheries regulations to make it more relevant to our current realities. Considering that our industrial fisheries sector has been dormant for over 20 years, we expect that the amendment of these regulations will contribute to suitable conversion and management of the fisheries sector. It will also enhance food security for all Gambians and contribute to the poverty reduction through employment creation. Tourism. Our historic political transition took place during the peak of the tourist season. Tourism contributes significantly to GDP and is a critical source of employment and government revenue, as tourists are naturally drawn to our warm and friendly shores. We have begun to re-engage our key markets, but we still have a lot to do to sell our new Gambia brand to the world. We intend to realize full potential of tourism as a source of employment, livelihoods, and prosperity for our nation. The implementation of new strategies to enhance culture, tradition, and the arts as channels for new tourist inflows is already underway. The major craft markets at Bangalow Beach Hotel and Fajara Hotel have already been upgraded. Community-based tourism endeavors, such as the one in Demban in the West Coast region, have been developed with the support of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. environment and climate change. In the support of environmental protection and tourism in the country, my government has put in place various policies and programs to protect our environment and combat the effects of climate change. In our first 100 days, we revised an executive order of the previous government to destroy the forest park in Vigilo with the construction of a hotel on the park grounds. We have normalized the environmental impact assessment process with the clear guideline in accordance with due process, with full transparency to give investors more confidence in the system. My government will continue to monitor to ensure that existing investors respect the agreed guidelines to protect our environment. My government has also mobilized resources to support environmental protection. We have re-engaged with the Global Environment Facility, and we will access $6 million that had previously been withheld. The Forestry Bill 2017, which seeks to put in place the necessary legal framework for the management of our forest resources, will come to this National Assembly shortly for enactment. We shall enforce it rigorously to protect and preserve our already degraded and vulnerable forest cover. This is necessary not only to preserve our precious natural resources, but also to mitigate against the adverse of climate change. Within the first 100 days of my government, I have made important progress in expanding access to safe drinking water and improve sanitation in rural areas. On the 9th of April, with a grant from the Saudi Fund for Development, my government signed a contract for the construction of 25 drill wells equipped with solar pumps. The contract also provides for 25 elevated water tanks and associated water distribution systems. This $6 million project will improve water supply in rural areas by providing safe drinking water with easy-to-operate systems. In March 2017, the Department of Water Resources completed the construction of 950 ventilated improved pit latrines out of a planned 1,000 nationwide. The ministry is currently installing tanks, laying water pipes, and building precast stands in various communities across the country. Many of these facilities are either complete or near completion. At the end of this project, over 65,000 people in the rural areas will have access to safe drinking water, and 44,000 will have access to improved toilet facilities. Health. Madam Speaker, improvements to water quality are linked to health outcomes across the country. Alongside providing people with safe drinking water and sanitation, my government, through the Ministry of Health, is scaling up its efforts to improve our health delivery system, especially for women and children. As a first step, we have obtained additional assets to support primary health care provision in the country. This includes 800 pedal bicycles and 29 motorbikes for village health workers and community health nurses across the country's 7 health regions. I am pleased to report that the World Bank have approved $7 million in additional funding for the maternal and child health as well as nutrition research project. My government has also submitted a proposal to EU to enhance food security. We would welcome their support to help us treat acute malnutrition and prevent all forms of undernutrition. With more than 95% coverage, we are also getting support from the Global Alliance for Vaccine Initiative to help us consolidate our strong track record on child immunization. This project, estimated at $4.6 million, will help strengthen and enhance our immunization system. Education. For basic and secondary education. I am proud to say we have reached an agreement with the development partners for over $50 million worth of investment to expand and improve education for our next generation. With the help of the Creative Fund, we are upgrading 39 upper basic and secondary schools. This will see the building of additional classrooms, the rehabilitation of existing ones, as well as information technology and solar power solutions. We will install new furniture and educational facilities in our schools, including science laboratories, and there will be new teaching curriculum. With support from the World Bank and Global Partnership for Education, we are building on existing programs to enhance access to quality basic education, including early childhood education. Administration and civil service. Madam Speaker, while we were initiating our policy and reform agenda, we have also been reforming ourselves within government. We inherited a highly politicized regional administrative system. It was presided over by governors who owe their allegiance to the APRC. Offices of regional governors were being run more as political bureaus rather than serving the grassroots within their localities. As such, their national resources were being used for political propaganda activities. To improve governance and stop wasting resources, my government appointed 5 new governors whose terms of residence clearly exclude them from engaging in partisan politics. We have encouraged them to follow proper civil service conduct, which embodies neutrality and impartiality in performing their functions. In normalizing the civil service, we have established a panel to review the wrongful dismissal of civil servants and other government officials between September 1997 to December 2016. Since its creation, the panel has cleared over 100 employees, allowing them to be reinstated. At the same time, the civil service has expanded rapidly by over 40% since 2007. Consequently, almost half of government budget is spent on civil service wages and benefits. This not only limits government ability to provide the necessary budget to improve the socio-economic status of its citizens, but also make it difficult to improve the salary of civil servants. This is one of the key challenges in attracting and retaining skilled professionals. In response, my government has tasked the Personal Management Office to conduct a comprehensive nationwide staff audit for the entire civil service. This began on the 27th of March 2017. For the first time, this audit includes the security forces, the army, the police, immigration, prisons, fire and rescue service, and the state intelligence service. The objective of the audit exercise includes identification and elimination of ghost workers, the recovery of wrongful salaries, and the updating of personnel records. Let me proudly acknowledge the support that my government received from our UN partners in the area of administrative reform. During this transition period, the UN system has provided support to strengthen government capacity, and they have been assisting us in formulating our national development plan as well as security sector reform. It is also important to report that as part of the reform, my own office, which was directly coordinating and supervising huge number of public enterprises and other state agencies under the former government has been decongested and those institutions streamlined their line ministries. In conclusion, while we have taken this opportunity to reflect on how far we have progressed as a nation in just a few short months, let us not be mistaken. We have a huge long-term task ahead. This includes, but not limited to, continuing to rebuild and nurture our young democracy for inclusive socio-economic development, providing economic opportunities for all, and reforming the institution of government to ensure improved service delivery for our people. These tasks are not without challenges, but I am confident that none of them are impossible to overcome. I am happy and privileged to have this great opportunity to lead our great nation to prosperity, but we must learn from the experience of others. We must be disciplined. We follow the plan and stay committed to that plan. So in pursuing our vision for the new Gambia, my government will continue to focus our time and resources on a clear agenda. We shall create a foundation on which future progress will be built. I commit to you to pursue this agenda with greater transparency and accountability, more than ever before. I will continue to update you on progress throughout the year. This is a new government and a new era. And as your president, I am here to serve the Gambian people. And now, by the powers vested in me as president, it is my pleasure and privilege to declare this historic session of our National Assembly in the New Gambia formally open. Thank you.